Rings of Power Season 2 dropped yesterday, and I didn't watch it. I've been trying to get through Season 1, and I'm about halfway through it. I just can't sit through these 70-minute episodes where pretty much nothing happens. It's so rough. But I guess that just makes me a sexist, according to Morfydd Clark. Is that how you pronounce her name? I guess so. You guys can correct me in that if I'm wrong. She plays Galadriel. And it's a bastardization of Tolkien's concept of Galadriel. Galadriel in the books is a sorceress elf. She's mysterious, and she's actually modeled somewhat after the Virgin Mary. There's a great book of lore called Tolkien's Faith, I believe, that really goes into this in a deep dive, and it's worth the read. But as an aside, this is not how she's presented in the show. She is a Xena warrior princess, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, who goes and just kicks the butts of all these men out there who are trained warriors because she's a strong female. And, it's just a poor characterization of what Tolkien did, and it wrecks the show, frankly. It really does. Now, she leans into it, and she's been leaning into it since the beginning. This is part of their PR tour. It's a PR strategy that they do with all these things at this point in the woke media. They don't know how to write, is what it comes down to, and then they have to make excuses for it, which is what we're going to get into today. We're going to show her cringy comments and talk about this in just a moment. My name's John Delarose, everybody. Please hit the like and subscribe button. I actually write female characters better than most out there, and I think you'll really enjoy my Adventures of Baron von Monacle. This is a 6-book fantasy series that I wrote. It's actually my bestseller. As you can see, I've got 563 ratings on Amazon, 4.3 stars. And so people enjoyed this. And it gets way, way, way deeper and better as it goes along, which is great. It's available on ebook, print, and audio. So if you enjoy good fantasy fiction that doesn't have like that kind of lecturing that Rings of Power has and that these people have, you'll really enjoy this. Check it out. Thank you guys so much for the tremendous support on all the books over the years. It's different than Tolkien. It's a different deal. But I still think you'll enjoy it nonetheless. That's in the description below. And thank you again. Grab the whole series. You'll really, it pays off big. It really does. And we'll be getting back to writing more of this very shortly. All right. So they're doing the Victim Tour. And it's been something that I mentioned in this article, Fandom Pulse. Again, this is something to follow because I write these articles and they go out to you every morning on Substack. It's been done a long time. It started with The Last Jedi, and if you remember the actress that was playing Rose Tico, she was getting bullied by people on the internet. She literally couldn't even. It's terrible what these toxic male Star Wars fans are doing, and they made a whole political cause around The Last Jedi. And while The Last Jedi was not at a point where people were so fed up with woke culture yet that it failed at the box office on the levels that we're seeing the new stuff, it still was a failure. That was the tipping point to where people started tuning out of Star Wars because it was just so egregious. Then they went with Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel, again, just a terribly written female character. Carol Danvers in the comic books back in the Claremont stuff from when she was Ms. Marvel. There's some good stuff there, but they don't know how to write women. They write women as men with tits, and that's exactly what it is. And then the whole time they attack men during these shows. Again, they just don't know how to write, is what it comes down to. That's why I write my own stuff at this point. And same thing. They did, the toxic fans, and that was the tipping point for the MCU going down the drain. Now, this year is very different. People are so sick of this stuff. People are so fed up with stuff. It really does kill shows. And so if you remember, Doctor Who's went out there and they said they were going to upset the fans. And Ncuti Gatwa, the actor, started crying about racism. And then who could forget our good friend Amanda Stenberg from The Acolyte when ratings were low on the show because it was just a train wreck. Again, they just can't write good characters. Put out this cringy music video starting calling all the fans racist and bigots and, saying that like we invented the word woke and you can't use it, white people, and awful. And again, I think this was the tipping point for the people who were even watching the show tuning out. As it used to, the first couple of episodes were, they made the Nielsen ratings top 10. The end of the show, not so much. That was it. It died, and as we know, the show's gone. So Rings of Power has had much the same thing. We've had the same diversity casting. They've made a big deal out of it the entire time. I remember, like, when as I've been trying to watch this recently, the first episode, when the black elf goes into the inn there, and all the white men are in there, and they call him Knife Ears. Knife Ears, please. What's up, my Knife Ears? I mean, it's so cringy, so cringy. And then you start to look around, and it's like, wait, the dwarven princess. There's one black lady. The Hobbit. I mean, Harfoots, not hobbits, because they don't have the rights to the hobbits. They have one black person. The Numenor has a black queen, one black person, and then it's like every little subset, every little race that we follow in this entire, it all has this weird little diversity clan that all looks like every Hollywood casting for every movie, and it doesn't make sense at all in the context of like a Middle Earth. Like, why would it? It's insane, and so it's really something that's just patronizing and insulting to the audience's intelligences on that level. And when it comes to something like Tolkien's a different level. He worked so hard on his world building. We know that he only released a few books. He went out there. I mean, the guy developed 3 different languages himself for his elves because he was that autistic about the lore. and the books actually shine through. That's why they stand the test of time. So when you completely ignore that and you just try to make it your own modern Hollywood representation of generic fantasy, it just wrecks everything. And so you could see he's proud he created a big controversy of me being the first elf that wasn't white. I love the nerve that I pinched. I really do. I was so excited to create something new. So they brag about the fact that they upset fans with their silly diversity casting. They brag about that. And if you listen to all their interviews and all that, do they ever talk about, like, I did the best acting job I could, like the actors of yore, or like this script was incredible, like we really developed this fantasy that's cool, it does honor towards Tolkien? You never see that. It's always about their race. It's always about their gender, and it's always complaining because inevitably these are just shows that the fans don't like because the writing's bad, and that's all it comes down to. And they can't admit that. And so they have to blame the audience for it. They have to blame the fans. Now, the gal here goes even further. And I did a video about San Diego Comic-Con a while back where she was out there and she's like, oh, they're upset whenever there's a strong woman. And she immediately backtracked because she knew how that was going to get reacted to by fans because she's been there before. And she said, it really upsets Sauron. Yeah, Sauron. Bad people don't like the strong females. But she went into Elle, thinking it's a woman magazine, started complaining about male fans. And this is, again, the same tactic. Rings of Power Season 2 just dropped today. Early reviews are not good for the show. People are saying that it's more of the same. They didn't learn their lesson. I mean, how do you spend this much money and not just correct things? When you've got, when did the first one drop? Like 2 years ago? You've got a lot of time to correct things here. And they didn't? I mean, insane. But hey, not my money, not my problem. But she said, she was a victim the whole time, of course, right? I was just totally unprepared when season 1 came out. I've seen a really dark side of what it means to be someone who anyone can write a message to on Instagram, and a really lovely side. So all the mean fans were bullying her on Instagram. Aw, so sad that you're in this, $1 billion production, getting fame that you craved your entire life and sold your soul for. But you got some mean comments because the show sucked. Okay. But they can't admit that the show sucks again. And when she goes into the criticisms on this, she starts crying sexism. She says that the mean comments were primarily from men. And this is where they forget things, that Lord of the Rings is a property that is primarily watched by men. It is an epic fantasy. It's really got World War I elements to it, medieval war elements to it. It's got a lot, and the people who are interested in that are men. It's not a big female demographic audience. It's ridiculous. And so when they complain about this stuff, they really show their true colors. They show that they don't give a crap about making a good show. They don't give a crap about Tolkien's lore. It's just all about their identities over and over and over again, and playing victim so they can get some sympathy points within the media, in hopes that that creates some sort of political controversy around them, in hopes that saves their show. But it's not going to do it anymore. It doesn't work anymore. It hasn't worked in years, and they keep trying it over and over and over again because Hollywood is insane. That's all. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit the like and subscribe button. And like I said, this is just a matter of bad writing. I write better female characters than almost anybody in the industry, and it's because I don't pull this stuff. If you look at Zara here, you'll never see her in a fist fight. You'll never see her doing that kind of thing, and there's a reason for that, because she's a tiny girl and she needs a bunch of men to surround her to do that, and that's how it works, and that's reality, and that's why this series rings true. That's why people like it. So check it out. It's in the description below. Thank you guys for the support. This is a 6-book series, like I said, and it pays off really well. So read the whole thing. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.